Yeah, definitely. So, for reference, I've been into crypto since probably 2017, late 2017, and it's been a fascinating place. There's so much innovation popping up left and right, and it's really just cool to research it. And there's just never-ending amount of stuff to look into. So it's fascinating to me, and that's kind of how I started. At least was just being fascinated and my background. Then going forward, I started a project actually about 6 months ago with my brother as a software developer. So he's a software developer by day and then a Web3 developer by night. And through that process, we've learned a substantial amount. And
Within the
really,
family.
yeah, yeah. Um, we've just learned a substantial amount, and really, there's a lot of positive things that we've learned and a lot of negative things that we learned, and I can get into a little bit about why we started Cardinal House, but that ultimately led us to where we are now, really, as a community that both helps projects grow and helps people understand what they are getting themselves into.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. Just so I got this right, is it Zach LM or am I pronouncing that right? Is it just Zach? How would you
It's
like me to?
it's just Zach. Yeah, my initials are L and then M, so that's where I get the name from.
Okay. Chris, you want to go next?
Yeah, awesome. So I'm Chris, if you didn't know that already. No, I've been involved in crypto. I all started back in 2020, so not nearly as old as Zach here, but started out with top 10 coins. So starting with Bitcoin, and then as he started to become more popular, I was like looking into that, and it was a lot of just research right before you're comfortable to invest or that kind of thing. And then it wasn't until about 6 to 8 months ago that I actually started looking into the DeFi space, and I realized how much information there actually is, and I didn't quite understand it at the beginning. And I figured, why don't we bring this educational content to other people and start to try and learn about it firsthand? And that's where I started. I started with my brother. We actually hosted Zach and his brother on a podcast, and that's kind of how we got linked up. And we were like, oh, you know what, we're both trying to start something kind of similar, why don't we do it together? And that's kind of how everything started.
Nice, nice, cool. Okay, well, look, so give us, as a starting point. So obviously, Cardinal House. What exactly is Cardinal House?
Yeah. So Cardinal House is a community of like-minded crypto enthusiasts that really just are here to learn and navigate the crypto space, whether you're just getting in for the first time and you need help setting up a MetaMask, or you want to, find the latest and greatest project, like, I don't know, maybe find MDB before they launch, then you could, find that project in our server. And then also, we have a great passion for educating others and bringing the opportunities on and the DeFi space in particular, but also we branch out a little bit from DeFi too with some of the bigger projects. But and then also what we want to do is help incubate newer projects that are super innovative. Because like I was saying, how we started our own project about 6 months back, and that really led us to the conclusion, like, we realized that marketing a project and building a community is way easier said than done, and it takes quite a bit of marketing dollars unless you have something super creative and don't have like a, I don't know, a crazy high yield to advertise to people that people get super excited about. And uh, through that
I think
process,
that's a massively important point. Just to step in, and it was raised by our very own godfather recently on an AMA about, oftentimes you'll see a project. I'll pick a project. It'll be a rebase based project, and soon enough, the liquidity needs to start getting funded by the marketing budget, and all of a sudden, they're in this kind of downward spiral where they can no longer, fund the liquidity. Therefore, they've got no marketing budget to play with because they've lost the marketing budget because they have to keep topping up the liquidity funds. And it's like, all of a sudden you can't push it forward anymore. And the marketing piece is so critical to projects. It's not just about, you may have the best, and the greatest kind of project and, mathematics that sit behind it. But if you don't have the marketing piece that sits behind that, that gets it out there, it's a sitting duck, right?
Yeah, definitely. And not only does it take a massive amount of time and a lot of people to get involved and getting the community hyped up, but it's also super expensive too. I mean, there's Telegram groups. I'm sure you guys have heard of plenty of them. Like one in particular that I bring up as a common example. It's called Golem's Gems. They've got like 38,000 people in it, and
Yeah.
they're like the cheapest dollar per viewer in the audience for an AMA, and they charge $7,000 for roughly 500 to 600 people live on the call. So if you can imagine,
Wow.
you'd probably need 10 to 20 of those AMAs to build up a super solid audience for your project, and that's multiple six figures just to build up the initial audience for a project. And if you don't have that budget, then like you said, you're kind of just a sitting duck. I mean, obviously there's some creative things that you can do that aren't as costly, but that's just like AMAs are super common in the crypto space nowadays. And just to hear about that and learn that, wow, like this takes is definitely more involved than we thought it would be. So that's kind of where
What was
we
the kind of? Sorry, carry on. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
oh, I was gonna say that's kind of where we wanted to step in and say like, hey, we want to really help grow these projects, but also provide value to our audience at the same time, and see if there's any kind of connections that we can make there where it makes sense to not charge a project 7 grand for an AMA, but also provide value to our audience through, I don't know, maybe giveaways. A lot of projects like to do token giveaways or whitelist giveaways to people that listen in as like an incentive to participate. And then also just to get to know the teams behind projects too. That is absolutely huge, and I think it's super underrated. I mean, there's 25 people in the audience here, but there's 12,000 people in the Discord server, for example. And I think that you guys, the 25 of you that are here, are definitely doing your due diligence in researching projects very well. And I think that definitely that helps as well. And I think showing people like how valuable that is, and helping guide your investment decisions really, I think that's absolutely massive. And it goes, it helps the project, it helps the community make smarter decision. It's just a win-win overall, and that's really what we're about.
So, from your perspective, so your kind of sense of the DeFi space and understanding, kind of the marketing elements in terms of why projects fail and stuff like that, was that born out of you being involved with projects and kind of seeing how they fell, or was it more, kind of something that you thought about prior to kind of starting the project? How did you guys get into thinking about this is what we need to do? Or maybe was it more like looking at the likes of, I don't know, maybe like Obsidian Council or other projects who were in a similar, other servers who were in a similar kind of space where they vet projects for, the wider community? What was your thought process behind that?
Yeah, so throughout running my own project, which it's still up today, it's called Chain Estate DAO. I
What
don't
was
I
that?
don't want
What was
to.
that project actually?
It's
You
called
can chill it. Okay.
Chain Estate DAO. Sorry, I don't mean to shill, but it's still up and running now. But essentially, the idea behind that is it's real estate brought to the blockchain, and we were advertising NFTs that are tied to the real estate that give a 25% ROI through our different mechanics of collecting funds for the real estate and buying that. And through that, a 25% ROI. I mean, even though bringing blockchain to real estate and vice versa, that's like probably the most the closest thing that NFTs can get right now in their current state to actually integrating with real world utility.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're on the cutting edge of innovation, but a 25% ROI just doesn't seem interesting to most people in crypto, right? Like, why would you invest in Chain Estate DAO when you could invest into Olympus and get 10,000% APY? And people just don't not everybody understands the differences there.
No. Yeah.
And then
I think the problem
also,
you're gonna
oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
think the problem you're going to, yeah, I think the problem you're going to see is it's almost like, we're in that DeFi bubble where the hype is super inflationary. Everyone wants to see the crazy returns, but at some point the curve will flatten, and there'll be, a realization of what the actual, what the expected return would be, and maybe that 25% is probably where it's at, rather than the crazy, 7 billion and 1% or whatever it would be. For some of these rebase tokens, it's like I still feel we're in this kind of rainbow period, if you like, where it's kind of still not quite flattened out yet, and there's, we're pushing that envelope a little bit. But at some point, it's going to be, and I'll go into this a little bit further, but as an example, we take a lot of the rebase tokens. It comes to no surprise to me, and I don't want to talk about the project, but inflationary projects where it's rebase based, we're starting to look at ways in which they can become deflationary, and as kind of looking at MDB as an example, where we started the game completely as a deflationary project, and it was always marketed that way with really clever innovation, along the way. It's not difficult to see why we're and I'm probably being biased. I've got to be completely honest, but it's not difficult to see why we as a project are really starting to see some maturity in the way the price action's kind of moving, and kind of the trajectory in which it's going. So I completely agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, definitely. And then on top of, marketing a new innovative thing that doesn't offer a crazy APY, it's getting people that would think that 25% ROI in real estate is phenomenal. Like, the typical investor that isn't into crypto would think, wow, that is amazing. And, getting them into the door of crypto is not exactly an easy thing. They have to go on MetaMask go on Binance, for example, to get BNB. They have to get their funds locked up for like a week before they allow them to send it out, and then set up a MetaMask, then connect to PancakeSwap. And it's just a process that really could be worked on for kind of cutting down the barriers to entry. So getting those people involved and kind of teaching them what crypto is and how it works and why it's such an innovative space right now, and then also teaching people, because a lot of the people in our server, in our community, were investing thinking like, oh yeah, I'll just chuck $100 in, haven't really done the research, but maybe it'll do something. And then people just don't really understand what they are investing in, and teaching people how to research a project, because everybody says that, oh yeah, do your own due diligence before investing, but how am I supposed to know what that exactly means? Like, nobody's ever
Yeah,
taught me how to research a project. Like, that's a huge problem in the space right now, because all these YouTubers, they make projects or videos on projects, and they say, yeah, just do your own research before investing, please. I'm not held accountable for your decisions. But they also don't teach you how to do your own research. So we
yeah.
that's
It's
what
like I bet you if you could actually do some analytics on just comments in Discord or YouTube or whatever. I bet you one of the top three would be DYOR.
Yep.
That's it. Just DYOR. It's like, yeah, okay, well, what does that mean? How do I do my own research? It's almost like a disclaimer.
Yeah,
After my
exactly.
piece, do your own research. Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
So yeah,
Okay.
combining that with people that don't know how to do their own research, and helping those guys out, and then also helping projects get their feet off the ground through kind of incubating them through a bunch of different services that we have and available. Like that's kind of really the core foundation of what Cardinal House is, and why we think it's just such a much needed thing in this space. I don't know if
Awesome.
Chris.
Okay. Well, maybe I want to bring Chris in for a short second, if that's okay. So, Chris, can you maybe just break down so Cardinal House? Why would someone want to join Cardinal House? And can you maybe break down what I understand it's a paid membership, but can you break down what services as a member you would receive when you join the Cardinal House Discord server?
Yeah, so firstly, why you would want to join, there really isn't any reason not to. So right now we actually don't have any paid services. Everything is completely free. We're just trying to bring information to people, bring new projects onto AMAs, all that kind of stuff that we've been doing for the past couple months. We do plan, like you said, on integrating that membership. And for that membership, it's going to start at a much cheaper price than what we're going to build to, just as people try it out, just to try and get people, in the door, foot in the door, type thing. And members will have more exclusive benefits than non-members. However, we're never going to completely take away the services that we have. So, for example, anything we have, for example, the AMAs are access to all of our educational content, which we upload everything to YouTube.
What
Access
kinds of
to
educational content is that, please?
So we have both educational content on what certain terms are, so all the way from beginner level, like what is a DAO, and a quick explanation of that, all the way going up through, what happened to Strong Block, Olympus DAO, and then even more just into more the nitty gritty of things, like how to look up whether something's a scam, how, what is RegDoc, what is that kind of thing. So trying to actually look into, how to do your own research type of education. Um, and right now it's continuing to kind of be built, and we've been building that for about 2 months. And we're really on the grind to continue to put out that content, because there's definitely a lot of stuff that we have to address, if we're trying to address all these different levels of education.
Yeah,
um
it's such a wide, varied space. It's not like you
100%.
just you can't just cover, one little, 5% of the DeFi pie, because there's just so much more that goes on with. So, from a kind of educational standpoint, there's so much. I mean, blockchain, take that as an example. It's not necessarily DeFi, but it's an amazing thing to kind of give education on as one topic. Never mind, DeFi as a kind of as a point. So, can I just ask how long have you guys been going in terms of when did you guys start the
Started
actual Cardinal
a
House?
little over a month ago. Like we really started
Month
bringing
and a
in
half.
projects for AMAs and doing different kind of like giveaways for whitelist spots just to help grow the audience and grow our brand awareness and like networking with other people. And now we're moving on to even bigger things like scheduling
Much bigger
events.
things.
I don't want to spoil too much, but we got
Hmm.
a pretty big event coming
Awesome.
up, and then also partnering
Nice.
with different content creators. We're currently building out a team of content creators that really can align with our vision and that are super passionate about the same things that we are. And so far, we've gotten, I think, 5 or 6 creators on board, and we've been 5 for 5 on our meetings with them. Like, we give them the pitch, like, hey, this is how we can help you. This is how you can help us. Does this sound like something that's reasonable and you can find value in? And every single one of them said yes. And we're growing that out to as many as we can possibly get, because the more the merrier, really.
I
Awesome.
think we're very firm believers in the fact that, I mean, a lot of crypto projects, and it's kind of similar to anything you do, right? Business, crypto, new project. I think a lot of times people are thinking, hey, it's me versus the world, when rather you can start to combine ideas and bring other people into it. And not all projects are the exact same, so not everyone's really a competitor. And a lot of
Yeah.
times you can even benefit, and your competitor can benefit from kind of that exchange, because you're each bringing something completely unique to the table. So I think we're very on top of trying to develop all these partnerships regardless of who it is, and how we're going to do that, just trying to make connections and kind of bring in more people into the whole atmosphere, both for us and then whoever we're partnering with.
Cool. Um, can you guys talk about what your lifetime NFT is?
Yes, and that'll kind of go along with something I didn't quite get to with the membership. So Zach, why don't you take that NFT?
Yeah, so the NFTs, we're having 100 of these. We're calling them OC NFTs, stand for Original Cardinal, just to kind of stick with the Cardinal theme. And these will be,
Not Obsidian Council.
no, no. These are going to be basically just lifetime access to our membership group, and these are not going to be sold to people. They are going to be given away to different people that help really build us up from the ground and been there to support us from the early days on. And eventually these will be available to sell on the secondary marketplace. So like right now you can win them through chatting in our server, getting to a certain level. You can just win this free NFT. And then also an invite competition we have going on right now. Then also we are giving away one NFT to the best question asked in this AMA, I believe. Is that correct, Apex?
Well, not strictly. I
Oh,
would
it's
love
the
to say yes, but we
million
have,
dollar club,
yeah,
millionaires club.
it's the Millionaires Club. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll do a giveaway. But so if I own an NFT, let's just say, is that going to be classed as, I guess, when you guys go as a paid membership, is there going to be certain content that is only released, I guess, to certain channels that are open, and maybe alpha that's shared specifically for maybe those members who've got an NFT or certain kind of status within the Discord server?
Yeah. So the member benefits are, I'll just list them off now, actually. So you'll get your own role in the Discord, access to different chats that are going to be member only, and then also like alpha information, like you were saying, we'll share that with paid members as well. And then for giveaways to our, or like for our AMAs that we have, a lot of people give away whitelist spots and tokens. You're going to be prioritized in that giveaway. So Cole, who is our developer, he will be making a custom Discord bot that once you enter a giveaway, if you have a specific role, then you'll have a higher chance of winning a giveaway. So it's going to be 75-25 for there's a 75% chance that a paid member will win and a 25% chance that a non-paid member will win a giveaway. So there's still like advantages to not paying for a membership, but there's that extra incentive to be a paid membership as well as the free AMA information. Also, like any information like, hey, I'm looking into this project. I'm not going to be like, hey, buy this project. This is financial advice. Like, I'm going to be very unbiased, or all of us are going to be very unbiased as to like, I'm looking into, for example, like a Constellation network right now. That's one of the projects I'm looking into. I think that they have a lot going for them. So I'm not going to be like, hey, buy this token. I'm predicting it's going to hit a 10x by the end of the month. Like none of that stuff. We're not here to shill projects and give price predictions and try to just get you to pump your bags. And so that's another thing with transparency that we're going to have. Then also,
yeah, sorry, carry on.
Then also, we're going to be releasing a token. And there's going to be a transfer tax. We can get into the details about that token in a little bit, but 2% of each transaction with the token will actually be set aside for a members only giveaway pool. So once a week, all the volume that is on the token 2% of that will go towards a lucky member. So even if we just have $100,000 of volume for the week, then that's like a $2,000 giveaway for a member of ours, which could be pretty substantial. And then another priority would be for a launch pad. We're going to come out with the launch pad, kind of going in that theme of cultivating new projects. We can talk about the different services and why a launch pad really makes sense in a little bit as well. But you would have, those of you who are members would have a higher limit in the launchpad versus somebody that's not a member, because we don't want to make the launchpad only exclusive to people that hold the token or are a member, because that kind of defeats the purpose of a launchpad. You know, you want people from their community to be able to invest in it, right? Too. So being a member, so being a member, you'll
there's a trade-off.
Just get a higher limit. But what were you gonna say?
I'm saying there's a trade-off, isn't it? You want exposure for the launch pad. Yes. But equally, you also want to try to, I guess, give your, your more loyal members better opportunity. But it's a balance you've got to play out. I'm trying to say I completely agree with your sentiments on that.
Yeah. So we still want to figure out. We're still in the process of getting more benefits for members, because really the more value that we can provide, then better off everybody is, right? We'll get more members, and the members will be happier members, and that's just a win-win. And so if anybody has ideas for membership benefits, especially like immediate membership benefits, that would be much appreciated. So because really right now somebody might be like, oh, I don't think that's worth $50 a month. I mean, some people would find value in it, some people wouldn't. Depends on what you do with the information, of course. But something that's immediate, that somebody would be like, yes, that's really cool. And just something that really sticks out. That's what we're looking for added benefits. So more will be announced at a later date, but that's what we got for now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry. Keep going.
I've got a couple of kind of maybe off-topic questions to ask you guys before maybe I open it up to the audience and anything that's within the Q&A. And obviously anything. One of the things I always like to ask at the end, at least, is that if there's anything that I've not asked or any of the team have asked that you want to speak about, that will be another opportunity at the end. But are you guys? Do you guys have day jobs, or are you full time on this project?
So Zach is full time. I have a job as well.
Yeah, and then
JoJo is also full time.
Yeah, I should probably go over our team a little bit better. So we got myself, Chris, JoJo, then Cole, our developer, and then Sydney, she's our graphics designer. So myself and Jojo are more on the marketing side, and then I'm on a lot of the educational content creation side of things, and really just getting to know people in our community and bringing them information. So myself and Jojo are full time, and then Chris has a job, like he said, and then Cole also has a job, but he's been developing in Web3 now for about 6 months, and it always amazed me like how quickly he can get stuff done. Like compared to other developers, like a couple of other projects that we looked at, they're like, yeah, we have these developers working 18 hours a day, and there's two of them, and we got this phenomenal developer team. And then Cole comes along, like just been in Solidity for 6 months, and he's like, oh, their DApp has this glitch and that error and blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh, this took him like 2 weeks to build out. I could have done this in 2 days. It's always funny
Yeah,
to hear him.
I kind of feel like developers are like Homo evolutus. They're like this other, like the next generation of our offspring of people who are just a different kind of race than the majority of people. They are awesome. You speak to some devs and they're like, I'm not a dev by any convention, but there's so much intelligence, and you can clearly see. You think of the way, not to get philosophical, but you see the way kind of 100 years ago, there was no such thing as electricity. Believe it or not, there was like, you had Thomas Edison and Tesla figuring out AC and DC, and all of a sudden, roll forward 100 odd years, and all of a sudden it's like coding and DeFi. It's like TVs, Sky, Virgin, whatever. All these kind of different kind of things, and it's like 100 years. It's like exponential growth of technology, and obviously the devs that they're right on the kind of forefront of all this technology. It's awesome. Like, okay, so I'm probably going to ask you some curveball questions if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
Excellent. Okay, so name your top three DeFi projects that you specifically, and not just you, Zach, but you, Chris, too, because you may have a differing opinion. Name your top three DeFi projects that you think will still be around in 12 months' time, and I also want to know why.
Oh, that's a
Top three
tough
DeFi
question.
project. That is
That is
very
a tough
difficult
question.
because of the long term.
That's a different AMA question, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I can't not say MDB, so
You better say MDB, baby.
I have to now.
I'm just
So
joking. No, genuinely, guys. No, this is not to chill MTB. I'm curious. I asked the question in just for a bit of banter in the server earlier, and I actually thought, that would be a really good question for the guys actually when they come in. So I'm just keen. I appreciate you guys probably get a lot of projects that are coming into your server who you may be vetting, or people are raising, and you maybe do a little bit of due diligence or research. And I'm just keen to get a sense on what you think the space looks like in a year's time, and if any of the players who are still here are still there in a year's time.
yeah,
So three projects each.
I suppose I'll start with, I guess, Sphere Finance. That's one. I think that stopping the rebasing for them is like a huge step in the right direction for long-term sustainability. And their team is phenomenal. They keep updates all the time. That's probably one that I can be a little bit more sure on. Parrotly as well. I don't know if you've heard about them.
We have, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So we've heard a lot of these projects in our server, in particular, where we had Parrotly on for an AMA. We actually have them on again on Sunday. They're always fun to hear from. They have some serious innovations along the way with their Flock wallet, and they do approach it from like a legitimate business standpoint, where they actually have a registered entity, and they're very careful with what they're saying because they don't want to get in trouble with the SEC.
Yeah.
And I think that you really need that approach if you plan on being around for the next 12 months, right?
Sure.
And then, let me think about the third one, and I'll pass it on to Chris real quick.
It's hard to go away from what you said. It is very difficult to try and go away from Sphere. I will say that much. Because we've talked a lot about the projects that we've had on, and then the past couple weeks have been filled with a lot of Sphere talk. So, I'd have to say one. I don't know if I can arrange them in any particular order. If I were, I would most likely say Sphere at the top. It's really tough because we're in a like kind of a very bearish market right now. It's kind of tough to see where like things, if projects do come to fail and that kind of thing. Obviously, we're not trying to ever give financial advice, but um, so I'd have to say Sphere is going to be one of them. I'll try and branch away from Parrotly, although I do think that one's going to be a very successful project because, for the reasons Zach said as well. Um, Moving out of Sphere, another project that we did have on, which I was actually, and Zach and I had talked about it, we were really kind of excited about the applications it could have in our project itself, would be Exo Finance. And Zach, I know
You
you.
took my third one, dang it.
Yeah, I knew you were going to
You
bring that
you
up.
you guys know you're gonna want to try and maybe get a second AMA, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, 100%.
Well, you're going the wrong way. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Carry on.
So Exo Finance, essentially what, one of the biggest things that we always focus on is utility, and a project needs to have utility if you're going to say that it's going to last, long term. And Exo Finance is trying to make, so you have the utility and then you have how user friendly things are. And just because of crypto's nature, and especially, in particular DeFi, it's not easy for someone brand new to get into. There's a lot of, you have to go through, like Zach stated, like you have to go through, Binance, get your BNB, change it to like make a MetaMask wallet, understand what the heck these, you know, your recovery phrases, understand, how to do that, all that kind of stuff. So there is a bar to entry just on the information. If someone isn't willing to put in the time, they're probably not going to invest. But Exo Finance is making it a lot easier to bring fiat into straight into, specific currency on a MetaMask wallet. I believe it's on the MetaMask, correct? Are they integrating with Parrotly possibly as well as that?
I believe it's their own application, but we'll have
It's
to
their
double
own.
check.
Okay.
We'll have to double check with them on the AMA. They
Yes.
did to see me send me a little teaser for it, so it was super cool to see.
Yeah. So I think that that's one of the projects that if they are successful before anyone else is, or before anyone else becomes majorly successful, I should say, uh, they will grow and definitely kind of be sticking around for the future. Um, just because of that, it has a huge use, and it's stopping a lot of people from actually getting into the crypto space. And then as far as a third, like I said, I don't want to go towards Parrotly.
I could
Let's see,
step in.
Zach. I'll let you. What was that?
So I said I could step in, but on the theme
Yeah.
of kind of, well, apparently there's wallet is geared towards being accommodating for businesses, like world
Yeah,
businesses to
business
integrate.
useful. Yeah,
Yeah, so on that theme, I think 100 Days has definitely a unique approach to partnering with real world businesses and getting them to integrate into the crypto space. Now they're really on the cutting edge of things, and obviously, the first ones that go at something aren't always the ones that succeed. So it's kind of that thing where if they succeed and become this huge player, then it could be this massive project in the future. But getting to that point is a much harder topic.
okay.
And then
Well, let, let,
also,
let,
sorry, go
let, let
ahead.
me ask you. Let me ask you a more challenging question. Do you think MDB will be around in a year's time? And if
That's a
not,
great
why?
question. I'll say this. I'll say yes, but if they aren't, it's because the developers for MDB stopped innovating and they just kind of let the project die. Like I think if you guys keep coming out with different utilities and different reasons for people to buy into MDB, then you for sure will be around in 12 months. But if that stops for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe there's some internal conflict in the team or funding runs out, whatever the case may be, then definitely not. But I don't see that to be an issue with you guys for sure. So
With the support
Sure.
you guys have right now, if you guys spent 12 months creating five new innovative things, you guys would be around for a long time. I think you guys, your community itself, and then also just the support you have, through other communities, and the team you have is, you guys have brought a lot of new ideas to the space that I had not even thought about. And until listening to you guys on AMAs and then looking into your project some. So I think if you guys continue to do what you have been doing, for sure.
I think that's nicely going to, well, it shuffles my questions around a little bit. But it kind of segues into the next question, which I think is quite a good one in terms of, I guess the majority of the community, at least within MDB, believe, deflationary based projects. I guess we've seen rebates and inflation and stuff like that. And, I guess whilst it starts with a Ponzi-nomic nature, I see that as more as a sales pitch to get, attracting initially, but obviously there's a shelf life to that. And I think deflationary mechanisms are kind of the way in which, you get longevity, and whether that's through, an ecosystem or, kind of, you mentioned yourself, innovation in terms of constantly trying to, get new members into the project, and just generally trying to push it forward. I firmly believe, and this is only my own opinion, and take it for what it is, but with deflationary projects, a lot of the kinds of it went from, let's say, Node. So a quick history: Node 1.0 DeFi. Nodes was great. Pure Ponzonomics. The majority of them are like a mountain. They start, they peak, and then they just completely dovetail, and it's like, shrapnel at the end of the day. And then you kind of went into 2.0, which is more around the rebase and inflationary projects, the really high yields, and again, straight Ponzonomics in that sense. And then obviously that starts to dovetail when it completely dilutes, because the amount of tokens being kind of produced versus, it's just, tokens being produced, it's just diluting that price all the time, and people are taking profits. So it's a challenge. And then obviously I think you kind of move into this kind of space of 3.0, which is more, and I'd probably suggest, and you can maybe cut me down on this if you feel it's necessary. And the 3.0 is starting with deflation as the standing point, where you start with a market cap of a specific a max supply of a certain value, and it's only ever going one way, and that's down. And you look at Bitcoin, you look at everything else, it's a fixed supply, it's getting burned, so there's scarcity of token. You're going to come to a point where you see a supply shock, where the burning of the token means there's less about, and therefore the price of that token, in terms of the liquidity pool and everything else that comes with that, naturally makes that price go up. And I think that kind of thing, the kind of 3.0, if you'll allow me to kind of dance with that for a bit, is kind of the 3.0 version of what I think the best projects are going to be. And I look at other projects that have been inflationary and now have gone deflationary. And what happens when what happened when a certain project mentioned that they were now going deflationary? You've seen this crazy uptick in price, because it's like, wow, okay, well, that seems to be the way. And this kind of harpers back onto the original point that you made when you first came into the AMA about marketing. If you kind of couple up marketing well with what the deflationary project is, I think you're onto a winner. And that's why, for me personally, I think MDB not only has a kind of a successful kind of trajectory, but it's got longevity as well. And I think it's not just that, by the way. You need to build an ecosystem. You need to have, and Chris, you mentioned it, I think it's absolutely spot on. You need to have a number of kind of comfort blankets around that isn't just a token. There's stable elements. There's kind of other ideas around what the future may hold. And I think you're right. I don't disagree with that at all, actually. But I think, if I'm looking now at what does a year hold for, say, MDB, it looks really, really positive in that sense. And, you take again, and I feel like I'm not, I don't really want to shield just MDB, because, I did say I was biased at the start, but you look at the price action. We got the kind of washout of the whitelists, which you get in pretty much, 98% of all projects. And then all of a sudden, we kind of look at a much more mature kind of price action in terms of, we analysed the charts. We spent some time actually recently with one of our members, Hazy. We've done a really great session on analysing the chart, and it's really cool. It was a really cool kind of session to kind of go through and see, okay, well, at what point did we kind of think we washed out the early holders, and at what point do we start to see that kind of nice trajectory? And it was a nice kind of session to kind of go with. So I think the kind of, if I was to say the 3.0 element is really around the deflation projects and kind of how that moves forward. So maybe I appreciate some kind of commentary from that from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. There's kind of two aspects to being deflationary, right? It encourages people to hold, right? And that's a great thing for projects that are getting started. But then there's a reason also why the economy is inflationary, like the actual US dollar, like it's an inflationary currency, as we all know. Like there's a reason for that, right? It encourages people to spend. It encourages things to keep moving on. So it's really a double-edged sword being a deflationary token. Actually, speaking from the Cardinal token, we are going to be a deflationary token. So we haven't quite gotten into all of our services that we're offering, but for any services that we do offer and charge money for, then the main reason why we created the Cardinal token, or why we will be creating the Cardinal token, is that it's going to act as a transactional method for all of our services, so that we can kind of keep it all into the same ecosystem where, like if somebody's paying $1,000 for a service, let's say, then they would pay that transfer tax or the transaction tax to help different areas of the project, like marketing, that giveaway to incentivize members from joining. So there's always going to be that revenue coming in as well. But also, a portion of that, depending on the service, because some of them are more involved and cost more for labor and etc. So depending on the services, it'll be a different percent. But let's say for a KYC, for example, we have it set for 50% of those funds that somebody pays us for a KYC are actually going to be burned. So if they put $1,000 in the liquidity pool to take out $1,000 worth of Cardinal tokens, they send us those Cardinal tokens to pay for the KYC. Then we would immediately burn half of those Cardinal tokens and then sell the other half to pay the person doing the KYC and ourselves as the team, and pay for some marketing, whatever we care to do with those funds. But half of those tokens would be burned, so there would be an incentive for the community to participate. And I think that is really a key idea, because without our community, we couldn't really offer these services, right? Like if we don't have a community of people to watch an AMA, nobody's going to care to participate in an AMA, right? And if we don't have a trustworthy name to us, then nobody's going to care to do a KYC through us or an audit or whatever the service may be. So the community is essentially the reason why we are able to do what we can do. And I think it is only fair to benefit the community from the services that we offer.
Absolutely. Do you guys have a fixed supply in terms of your Cardinal token?
Yeah, so I believe it's going to be 10 million. We haven't totally decided yet. It's a few months out till we launch the token, and really the supply doesn't change much. Like, it's just an exponential difference between how many tokens you have and what they're worth. Like, it doesn't change the fundamental value of them. So we still got time to figure that out, but we're thinking 10 or 100 million tokens in total supply. And with that, they are going to be a set supply. There's no inflation, no staking. We're avoiding all regulation risks as possible with the SEC. Like, we don't want to offer APY and say, hey, this is how much you'll make in a course of a year. Like, we want to avoid that and be as compliant as we possibly can. So there's definitely thought behind that as well.
I think the big thing that we're like really trying to make everyone aware of is it is a token with like that transactional use, right? So the token, really the reason for creating it is to help make everything in our ecosystem run smoothly and help give us the opportunities we have to actually, make what we're trying to make happen. It's not like the intention of it wasn't, hey, you're going to make a lot of money investing in this. That is not at all what we were saying. We're not telling people to put all their life savings in it. We're not telling people it's going to 300x. We're telling people, hey, if you want to become a member, you're going to pay through our token. If you want to use any of our services, if you want to, whatever it might be, like we're just taking all of that through our token. And then we can also, like Zach was saying, burn half of that through our token, and all that kind of stuff.
Listen, you'll be glad to know I've got one more question, and then I will bring in some of our members, although I've seen one of them just dropped off. So the last question I've got actually is, of all your projects, what has been the one that stands out most, and for what reason? So when I say of all your projects, the ones that you guys have maybe, vetted, looked into, maybe it's been requested by some of your members. What's been the one that stands out most of all? Maybe you've done an AMA with a specific project, so I'm just keen to understand what you think has been the one that stands out most and why. And that's to each of you.
I would say the best AMA we had, like with the best information, and just like the most unique and clear plan ahead, and like I best thought out, hands down would be Parrotly, and close seconds would be MDB and Exo Finance with their unique utilities, and then you guys, MDB has a super unique tokenomics aspect to it as well. And I think the Godfather's phenomenal speaker. He's funny, entertaining, and really knows it. Really knows his stuff. A $1 million daddy.
Needless to say, I mean, I have this thing about all CEOs and projects. They have this kind of velvety, golden vocal tone to the that requires no compression, no reverb, nothing, nothing in terms of the vocals. They just have this voice that you could read the back of a cereal box, and I'd go to sleep while I kind of speaking kind of tone to them. And the Godfather's certainly got that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. If I had to go through, it's hard because we've been in the same AMAs. It's difficult to move away. Again, with Parrotly, I think the thing that made them really stand out was they had a very specific outline plan for how they're dealing with the SEC and regulation. So they're upfront, not only like a crypto project, but they are actually registering as, I believe it was it a securities act, or was it just registering as a
legal entity? Yeah.
Legal entity. There you go. So I think that with the fact that they had such a detailed plan going into it, and they'd already set this up by the time we'd had them on the AMA. We're in the process of like finalizing some things and knew exactly where the law stood, because they do have someone that has a lot of experience dealing with business law and kind of all the different regulations that go with that. I think just being in the US, that was because I know we have a lot of very strict regulations here. It was very refreshing to kind of hear a project that was taking these things into account, because for every MDB we have on an AMA, we have 3 others that have no idea what they're doing as far as developing a something sustainable. So it was very refreshing to hear everything that they had. And yeah, I do think MDB Magus is also another big one that we've had on that has been able to speak about their project just extremely well, and had a very charismatic way of bringing everything there and making things very clear. I think MDB has a lot of innovative things like we've kind of brought up, and I think one of the biggest ones that surprised me was Gravity. After like talking about it with Zach and like getting a grasp for it, and I think a lot of projects are underutilizing that, obviously, but as time moves on, I think people will start to become a little bit more receptive to it, especially as MDB becomes bigger.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, to be completely honest. So, I guess I don't think we've got anyone on the stage. We did start with people on the stage, but they've got a bit scared. Okay, so let me just maybe go into the Q&A from the AMA question channel. So this one came from Randy207. So he's, where do you guys see the DeFi space going in this bear market?
I think this is, of course, just my opinion, but I think we're going to see a lot of these inflationary protocols just fade out. And one example, I don't mean to bash on Titano by any means, but like they haven't adjusted their APY. They've kept it at the over 100,000%. And what happened to their price? It's down 97%. And same thing with Strongblock, same thing with Olympus, all of these high APY projects that everybody is hyped up with 6 months ago, they're virtually non-existent now because their price just tumbled so hard, and a lot of people lost a lot of money, and nobody's making any money off of a lot of these projects anymore, and it's up to them to adapt. And I think that the ones that we do see around in the next 12 months are going to be like, yeah, we totally cut off the APY or cut it down significantly. And these, yeah, like inflationary protocols, those, I think are those time, the time for them is over. So we're definitely going to see more deflationary or at least slightly inflationary protocols make it through the bear market, because the inflationary protocols really have those Ponzi-nomics that require new investors. And in a bear market where there aren't new investors coming in, then it's not possible for them to be sustainable. And one more thing I like to say to really drive this point home is how not many people are looking to get into new projects right now. When my project got listed on CoinMarketCap, we saw 300 new holders pretty much overnight. And a project that I've been watching closely, they recently got listed on CoinMarketCap, and they got something like 5 or 6 holders overnight from the same thing. So if that says anything about how many people are looking into aping into new projects, whatever you want to call it, then I think, yeah, that just says it loud and clear for me. Like, yeah, nobody's looking to get into new projects right now. It's a tough time to market to new people, definitely.
I think it's very apparent when even looking at how content has gone, how many people have been in AMAs, how many people are actually looking to invest when they are coming into AMAs. Right now, as far as the bear market goes, I don't know how many new DeFi projects will be very successful until the market starts to look upwards again. And obviously, everything still kind of follows along with what Bitcoin tends to do. Some projects, obviously, you'll have your outliers, right? But for the most part, people aren't looking into the DeFi space because any new investor sees that Bitcoin is down 50% from what or more than 50% from what it was 6 months ago, and it's a very scary thing to look at that if you don't have any knowledge looking in, and thinking like, oh no, I was right, like I shouldn't invest in crypto and that kind of thing, when you haven't done any research into, okay, this is just it's a bear market that's going to come back up. So I think as things look up, and I think that was very apparent when Bitcoin started to go up, it hit like 31, and then everything started looking up for a little bit. And I think generally that's what we're going to be like. I think Sphere's price, for example, I mean, this goes along with some announcements that they had, but their price tripled, and it has to do with the rebasing as well. I know their announcement to stop rebasing, but it was right around the same time that Bitcoin started to look up again, and it was I think everything is kind of still following that, Bitcoin is the lead. So once that starts to look up, everything else should start to pick up, whether or not it's launched yet. Even if something has, looks like it's failing right now, just wait until the bull market starts hitting and new investors start to enter the scene. Because I think a lot of projects that look like they're failing right now will, as long as they have that utility and have the, the actual pieces that they require, they'll be doing well once the bull market hits.
That's a massively important point you just made there. And that's one we shouldn't just kind of overlook. And, how many projects launched during the bull run that, everyone dives onto the dovetails of FOMO, and it's like, okay, well, what's the next greatest project that we can just dive into because the price is just going to go, to the moon, and oftentimes it has because it's just during the bull run. But actually, again, not still an MDB, but we actually launched during what you could probably perceive as a bear market. And I think the ones that are in a bear market are still doing well. Imagine when that bull run starts to turn and we do start to really see new investment, and whether that's institutional or retail or whatever, it's going to be a completely different game altogether. But that kind of that also brings me on to another point that I just want to raise about kind of what you look for in projects, and a lot of the times I think most retail investors, the first thing they'll do is look at the price and they'll say, okay, well, has it been going down? Has it kind of stayed stabilized? Has it been going up or whatever? A lot of the time, what they fail to kind of look into is the ratio of what the back end of liquidity is to whatever it is, whether it's a trust fund or some sort of investment arm. That ratio is key to understand what the back end is. It's not just about the price action. It's like, well, if I'm back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times of my liquidity, that means that my liquidity can go right down to zero, and I can put that in 5 times before the project's actually dead, and that's a massive thing to think about when you're looking at projects. And it's like, I'm not sure how many people think about that as an entry point for, whether to buy into a project or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
100%.
I've got a question again from Randy 207, who says, "What do you look for in a team before partnering with them? Just understanding what are your kind of metrics you guys look into before you'll partner with someone."
Zach, why don't you lead off on this one? I
Yeah.
have a little piece to add, but it's stuff we've already kind of gone over.
Okay. Yeah. As far as partnerships go, for a first AMA, we don't have a ton of requirements. If something's like obviously a rug pull and super sketchy looking, then we probably wouldn't invite them on an AMA. But an AMA, just kind of get to know them, see what they're about. If we like what they're about and we click kind of, then we'll invite them on again sometime in the future. Or if we like do a video on them, or really just anything above that first AMA where we're like, yeah, we would like to work with you, then that's what we kind of consider a partner. And we obviously don't want to partner with anybody that we think is not going to make it, or we think their project is really just like a failure or going to be a failure. So we want to be as careful as we possibly can when we're picking partners, because if somebody sees like, oh, hey, there's that project on the partner list, then let's just go check
Yeah.
a couple $100 at it, and then they blame us for sponsoring that project if they want to call it that, and then we just want to avoid that as much as possible. So
So what are your actual requirements in order for you guys to put a partner in that partner list?
uh,
So
Chris,
one
you
of
can
mine
take
that
it.
I do. Sorry. One of the things that I really want to look at is who are the devs, or not only devs, but who's the team behind the project, right? If it is a group of people that I at least have heard of, if I have some good type of evidence that shows like, hey, this person is working for this project. These are things they've done. This is what they promised. Have they fulfilled those promises? Kind of where they've where they may have missed. Like if they promised a bunch of things and right now they haven't delivered on a single one, a little bit less eager to kind of go into that. Obviously, depends on if they're brand new or if they're very established. But then after that, I look into, or really the one of the bigger pieces as well would be, like I've talked about, the utility. So the utility, and then how new is it to the space? How innovative is it? So if there is no utility, it it's most likely not gonna succeed long term. It makes me very hesitant to want to promote that, because what are they really bringing that's gonna benefit people investing in their project long term? And then being innovative is also very important. Obviously, you've seen how and I hate to bring this up because it is one of the first, but like if you look at Olympus, right, they were innovative. Now the utility wasn't really there, but they had some innovation that was new to the space, and obviously they had a lot of support behind it before. Um, but all the forks off of them didn't quite do as well for nearly as long, and a lot of that is it's just a copy. People are usually going to invest in that first big piece, unless you take someone's innovation and make it better and improve it on in some way. But just copying a contract and moving it over to your own project isn't necessarily going to be that start behind something that is new to the space and is needed. So it's really like, what have they done? What new things are they bringing? And do those new things actually apply to helping a project grow? Are they needed in the space?
What would your reaction
Hey,
be if one of your sorry, quick one. What would your reaction be if one of your partners who you promoted rugged?
That would
So
be an unfortunate scenario, of course. We're not really calling them, like, we're not really like promoting them, so to speak. We're more so just like letting them present their case to our community. So if you want to call it a promotion, if you don't, then that's, I guess, subjective. But we try to not promote projects, and we try to be as unbiased as we possibly can. And if somebody were to rug, we would of course remove their partner and let everybody know, like, hey, we're wrong about these guys, and they were super malicious with their rug pull, and I think that it would just be like another reminder that we all have to do our own research. And if you are doing your due diligence on a project, then maybe you can make that decision for yourself. Especially if we're bringing on projects that like aren't docs and aren't KYC'd, then like obviously there's a super high risk for that, and we probably would never partner with those people. Actually, I'll say it now: we would never partner with somebody that's not KYC'd or docs. And I think that alone heavily mitigates the risk. Although, of course, projects still can rug with being KYC'd and docs. So we have to be very careful and make sure that everybody knows, like, hey, this is why this project is cool and innovative, and you should also do your own research. So we're not intending to promote these projects. Like we're not shilling anybody, like saying, hey, buy this token, it's gonna go up. Like there's a reason why we want to be as unbiased as possible. Chris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of the research behind finding the initial project and what this project stands for. Are they bringing something new? And then we're bringing that to our audience to investigate further. So it's we're doing that initial bit of like, hey, here are all the different things we found, because I know people's times are limited. They have obviously, like, I feel that pressure when I have work and that kind of thing. So people don't have a lot of time during the day to be looking at every single DeFi project. So if we find, here are 5 of them that we found, this week, go check them out. And then people can look into more specifics, see if they choose to invest, like, one thing we can't tell people to invest, because, I mean, quite literally, it is illegal here. So it's always something that we have to be careful about. But I think the big thing really is bringing those projects to people and helping teach people what you need to look for in those projects to know whether okay, this is a rug, this isn't a rug. But obviously there's always a chance, so you have to understand that you're only investing the money that you're okay with possibly losing. Like, don't put everything you have. Don't bet your house on this project succeeding, because there is a chance that it doesn't.
Okay, well, maybe we've got Crypto Dog up on the
Yeah,
stage.
hey,
Maybe
hey guys,
whoever
sorry.
likes the
Yeah, I
stage is
was
yours, my friend.
yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was traveling home from work actually, so I had to drop for a minute. But you talked a little bit just a few minutes ago about utility in certain projects, and a lot of people speculate about utility in a project. And so is there a couple projects where you've seen um, something useful utility wise that we may not know about already?
Yeah, definitely.
I think one of the big ones was Exo Finance that I brought up.
I was just about
I
to
think
talk about that.
of course. But I do think that that's one of the big ones that, one of the bigger ones that we found, because obviously Apparently has, I mean, you can tell they have utility. They're making MetaMask more efficient. Essentially, I mean, not literally, but they're making, some version of that, a wallet with a bunch of new features that are going to be, it's easy to see that. With Exo Finance, like I said, one of the bigger issues with crypto right now, and this is kind of the issue with the internet, as the internet started to develop too, and you'll see, like, as new tech comes around, there's usually a barrier to entry in the beginning, and once that barrier to entry is solved, you have a rush of people coming in. You'll see, like, when a coin gets listed on Coinbase, the entry point there, usually there's a crazy amount of volume compared to when it's initially listed on a DEX. And that's only because it's a lot tougher for the masses to invest in a DEX if they don't understand kind of where they're going and that kind of thing. So I do think Exo Finance, for that reason, brings a crazy amount of utility to, if they're successful in everything they're planning, will bring a crazy amount of utility to crypto in general and all of DeFi, really.
Yeah, then just to add on to that, like Chris was saying, breaking down that barrier to entry. That's what I think is one of the biggest innovations that's the most in reach right now. And a project called Ember, they are actually creating a payment flow that can be integrated on different dApps that will allow you, it actually connects with Stripe, and it will allow you to insert a debit card or a credit card to pay directly for a token. So like it interacts with the decentralized exchange for you, so you don't have to connect your wallet to that. and do all of that extra added steps. Instead, you could just put in your credit card or debit card, buy crypto there. And I think that, once they roll out with that, I believe they're still in beta, but once they roll out with that, I think that could be massively adopted in tons of different projects. And then also adding on to the utility that's unique for Exo Finance, they are creating a decentralized exchange with a bunch of different utilities that not a lot of other exchanges have. Like, they will be allowing for limit orders, eventually get to allow people to short positions. Also, what is it? They're going to allow developers to control their own exchange taxes before they go into the actual exchange themselves. So if you have a tax on your
That's
token,
really big.
then you can actually code that into the decentralized exchange itself rather than the smart contract, so that not only does it mitigate the chance for there to be errors in the code, but it prevents maybe a massive dump on the token later on from selling those tokens to actually collect the tax to put to use. So I think that aspect of it is pretty huge, and I don't want to go into too much more detail about them, but they do have quite a few other things as well.
Crypto Dog, did you have anything else you want to ask?
Interesting. Yeah, no. So when I think of utility, so I see you're looking kind of on the front end, um, and those two projects kind of barrier to entry, and that's key for a lot of people because even in our Discord, we see people that still don't really know how to use MetaMask or to use the swapper, and we kind of coach them through that and get them into MDB. But when I think of utility, I'm looking at something on the back end. So, in a year, why do I still want to be invested in this project? Where's the long-term utility that's going to, keep this project going and keep people wanting to start investing in a year, versus just trying to get in early and make that quick buck. So that's when I say utility, I was kind of thinking through something that you may have come across with that kind of long term, and that may be more in the NFT space, um, as we see these different new projects coming up. But yeah, that's kind of where I was going with the question. But yeah,
Yeah, I can actually add one extra example to that actually. And you mentioned NFTs, so Apparently actually has their NFTs and they're partnering with businesses, right? So they have their new wallet. They're partnering with businesses, and trying to have like a business wallet and a investor or an individual wallet. And these businesses are going to have to provide some kind of benefit for the apparently NFT holders, if that's kind of the utility that you're thinking. So apparently NFT holders will get, if a business wants to use these services to accept crypto payments, uh, they will have to give, apparently to NFT holders, 10-15% off of their product, whatever it might be. So there would be some utility there into, investing in an NFT, trying to do it early on before, the price goes up and more businesses continue to partner with a group like Barely.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. And maybe in my mind, I'm thinking more along the lines of NFT type project. Like we've done uh, a pitch with Housebit where they're using a NFT to fractionalize ownership in real estate. Seeing the same thing with mining gold and different project,
Yeah.
and another one with potentially a movie production company doing a similar type thing. So yeah, that's yeah.
So the
It's a very
newest thing to
interesting
that.
time to be in this space, and so I just when I hear utility, I'm always
Mm-hmm.
wondering what people are kind of where their mindset is when it comes to thinking through utility in a project.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
And
want to take up too much more time because I see Hazy
oh,
up
you're
here as
good.
well.
There's plenty of different types, and the closest to that would probably be Chain of State, who's also uh, fractionalized, real estate on the blockchain and kind of brought the difference in, or like NFTs into, real estate and real estate back into crypto, which it's similar to Housebit in that way, but very very different in the model that they use.
Yeah, it's like we're seeing
But
an explosion of this concept of the real world utility, And NFTs is the way to go, because that's the way in which you own, a proportion or a fractionalized ownership of something, whether it's a, gold mine or emerald mine, house, films, whatever it is. It's kind of how you bridge the gap between DeFi and kind of centralization. But I've invited our resident legend Hazy onto the stage. He's a solid community member, a really good YouTuber, put really loads of good content out into the ether. He had a question on kind of within the AMA channel, but I just thought, I'll just invite him on. So Hazy, you had a question you want to maybe ask the team?
Yeah, but Crypto Dog just pretty much asked it, but mine was framed in a different way. Can y'all hear me okay? Because I'm driving right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Are there any? Yeah, he literally just asked it, and one of your other community members, JoJo, just kind of answered it, but I wasn't able to see the response because I got invited up. But yeah.
Not
So
bad.
whenever I hear you, I also kind of immediately get a question in my mind whenever I hear the term utility, because, and maybe I'm just being a little like obnoxious, because I think, well, we just all want to make money. Like, most of the people who we interact with in these different Discord servers for the types of projects that we're in, we just want to make money. And if you have a utility like let's say onboarding from fiat or something, like, we just want to know how can that make us money, And I think sustainability is the word I would use, because that's what really matters. And I know this is MDB server, so this is going to be kind of, it's a shill, but it is like the main project that I'm in right now and that I actually care about and see a lot of potential in, even though there are many other ones. I'm really interested in that project. Y'all keep mentioning, what is it, XO?
XO Finance?
What is it?
Yeah.
XO Finance.
Yeah, so I'm not even aware of this project yet, because I've been kind of in my own little bubble for the past couple weeks. But I feel like sustainability is a word that goes with utility, maybe. But like, you got MDB, for example, it has the trust fund that creates its own demand, because Apex was talking about this supply shock, right, that deflation has whenever he was comparing DeFi 2.0 and 3.0. And you really can't have a supply shock unless there's demand, right? Because you can be getting rid of the supply all you want, but if people don't want to buy your token, but the trust fund itself earns a yield and then buys back. So there's always like a base level of demand for the token itself. I guess the only way that could be. So the reason why I'm tying all these things in together is because, like, when you look at a project like MDB, I think there's a lot of potential to make money, but they're not trying to do anything like bring in businesses or, provide a bunch of services to other projects, or like a business to business utility aspect. It's really more of just an individual, at least so far to date that I've seen. I don't know if they have like more business to business stuff coming in the future or anything like that, but yeah, so I just question this whole idea of utility, because like, is it really utility, or we just all want to make money?
Yeah, I think I got a really good answer for you. So the two examples that I gave of Ember and their payment flow for a fiat currency, and then also the XO Finance decentralized exchange. So that's kind of the reason why somebody would want to use Ember, or why somebody would want to use XO. On the back end of things, a portion of a transaction fee, I believe Ember charges 1% for the fiat onboarding that they're going to integrate with different dApps, and half of that percent, I believe, I could be mistaken or getting my numbers mixed up with a different project, but part of that fee is going to go into buying back the Ember token. And same thing with the decentralized exchange that XO has. There's I think it's 0.05% of each transaction just goes into burning the XO token, so there's less supply over time, or buybacks and burns. So when I say like that, when I brought up those two examples, there is that back end utility as well. It's not just this is why somebody would use it. Like there's actually an opportunity there for, if played out how they say it will, then yes, there would be an opportunity to make money there.
If I can just add as well, I think when I think about utility, if I take a token, let's say Thor, right, as an example, yeah. Thor was an old project, still is an old project actually, and you can own, a different tier node, and you buy a node, and obviously you sell when the price gets to a good enough level, you can sell. But actually, utility to me is about, well, what else can provide by pressure? Because you've got a liquidity pool that's backed by something, and that the price action of that liquidity pool is determined by buys and sells of that specific token. So, in the case of say Thor, I think it's AVAX maybe on the opposite side of the liquidity pool. So, like, if I think of like, okay, well, maybe you're going to bring in a new P2E game, but not just a P2E game. Something of substance that kids, people who are avid gamers who will play the game and buy skins and buy things that they don't give a shit about DeFi or tokens or Thor tokens or whatever, but they're utilizing the game experience to purchase stuff that benefits as a buy. And it's like, how many of these different utilities can you provide around an ecosystem that props up the buy sides of the liquidity pool that essentially raises the price of a specific token? So that's what I think when I think of utility of a token. It's like, how many ways can you find utility of it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's
it's
a great
outside
answer.
revenue coming into the protocol, right? Not internal mechanisms like
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
node
like,
projects have, for
well,
example.
it's taken away that utility of Ponzonomics, where you're waiting for the next investor to come in, and eventually somewhere down the line, it's exit liquidity to someone who bought in, earlier in the project. So what can you do as a project to provide external revenue that is essentially acting as a buy signal to the liquidity pool? And whether that's games, whether that's NFT marketplaces, whether that's whatever. And to Hazy's point, staying outside of the B2B business thing, whether it's like someone buying a house or renting a house and getting utility there, whether it's someone purchasing elements of gold, let's just say, as part of a mining operation. These are just some of the projects we've dealt with. It's like, what utility can you provide? And that's kind of what I think about when I think of additional utility, which goes outside of the standard DeFi degens who are just there to buy the token and try to make a profit.
And I want to add something to that real quick. So, stepping away from what you kind of addressed, like going back to the sustainability piece. Sustainability, I think, is it is a very important piece as well. The utility adds something that helps it become sustainable for sure. But if you look at crypto as a whole, right now the size of crypto as a whole, like the market cap of crypto in general, a couple $1 trillion, is very small compared to a lot of other things going on in the world. So everything, if it is sustainable long term, it will go up and emit like a huge amount if it is sustainable and does have those cases for business to use them. Even if it's not that that immediate, like you were talking about Apex, that immediate like Pontonomics of investing in, saving or holding for 2 weeks, whatever it might be, and then as the new investors come in selling, you're going to have that whole asset class start to go up as market caps of crypto in general increase. And when the big business invests, that's really where a lot of the money comes in, and that's where you develop a lot of life-changing money versus a couple people becoming extremely wealthy off of new investors coming into a project.
One good thing about today is this is approaching 1 hour and 25 minutes, which is close to the record of an AMA we've done with any project. So, you guys are in good company, I've got to say. And I've had an absolute ball doing this, because it's for me personally, like I said to you earlier on in the discussion, I didn't want to research the project too much. I wanted to be more organic, of a flow of kind of a question's asked, you guys give an answer, we then pick up that answer, and then we kind of, myriad it into whatever direction it goes. And I kind of said that, one of the questions that I'd ask at the end was, is there anything you guys want to talk about that we haven't addressed in the AMA?
Oh yeah.
There is something I kind of briefly want to mention. Zach, what
Oh,
you
yeah.
first?
Oh yeah. We still have. There's honestly quite a bit that we have going on that we haven't had time to get to, and that's totally okay.
You guys want to get the record, right?
Oh yeah,
I will,
for sure.
We can go through it kind of briefly and just kind of address, the goals
Sure.
of these things, but we do have quite a lot. So Zach, you're welcome to.
I was just going to mention, I mentioned in a tweet before this AMA that we're going to be dropping some alpha in the AMA, so
Oh shit! Oh guys, I missed that.
Keep it going. Let's go.
Some people probably already know from us reaching out to different project teams, but we are going to be hosting an event involving 16 different teams, and there's going to be one representative from each project that are playing or participating, and it's going to be a chess tournament. So there's going to be, I believe it's a 4-round bracket, and it's just going to be kind of this big event that gets all 16 of these communities involved and just all in one place, having a good time despite the bear market. And so far we got a bunch of different teams on board. MDB actually, 100 Days, Printer Financial. We're going to be participating. We got Cole in the audience. He's going to be playing for us. He's a chess wizard, and there's a bunch of other people as well already. So that's
is that going to be a kind of a live face-to-face event, or is it going to be like kind of like over the internet?
A little bit of both. The plan right now is to host it in our server, and depending on how many people we have tuning in, we might have to switch over to like a Twitch live stream, because I don't know how many people in one channel can be supported by Discord. So it might be a little bit too big for Discord.
I think you can have a couple thousand.
Yeah.
It would have to be, I think, in a voice channel, not a stage channel. So I don't know how many specifically in a voice channel, but I know a stage can hold a few thousand at least.
Yeah,
What's the prize? Is it bragging rights, or is the any significance of the prize?
There's bragging rights for sure. That's without a doubt. And we're going to be, Sydney, our graphics artist, is going to be creating 3 NFTs. There's going to be a bronze-plated cardinal, a silver-plated cardinal, and a gold-plated cardinal for the top 3 participants.
Nice. I like it.
It's just meant to be more of a relaxed event, just all fun and games. No money on the line or anything, but...
Hang on. This is a competition. How can you dare say this is going to be a relaxed event?
I take that back. My bad.
Cole
That's
over here
genius.
is getting warmed up in the audience.
That's genius, by the way. Because what you're doing is you're getting 16 projects that maybe don't know about each other, right? It's smart. It's like networking, but even better. It's really smart.
Precisely.
I'll definitely watch that.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Hey, what I think would be what you could petition is that for each project to provide some level of, I don't know, reward to the winners. I see your NFT, but each project may want to provide something in some way to entice people not only to attend. So it might be like random giveaways throughout the event to keep people watching, and they never know when they're going to come, or additional prizes for people participating. But yeah, that's an awesome, like Hazy said, really good idea. I think you could get. I'm almost positive that if you got enough traction on this, Godfather would be willing to do some giveaways throughout the event.
I can imagine the Godfather to be an absolute chess master, grandmaster, maybe even.
Uh-oh.
He's like a secret Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, we're super excited for it, and I'm still getting a few more people on board before we have the full 16, but once we do, then we'll kind of coordinate in a separate server and see what time works best for everybody, and really get those details hashed out, and I can propose the ability or option of putting up a prize pool and see kind of what happens from there. Maybe we could do a charity event too, like I don't know, maybe like you paid $5 to get an NFT that represents like you were there for the event or something, and all that money would just go to charity, whatever that might be. So that's another option too. But yeah, we're
Zach,
super
can you
excited for it.
maybe can you give some alpha about who you've currently got signed up?
Yeah, we got Parrotly, D Firm, 100 Days, Exo Finance. We're working on Sphere. I think they are interested, but we haven't got a confirmation from them. Titano said they were on board. We want to get an influencer like Jesse Eckel. We've also got an AMA with James Pelton in a couple of weeks coming up here, so we're going to ask him live on the AMA and try to peer pressure him into agreeing to it for us. And Printer Financial, I believe I mentioned, and I might be blanking on a couple others. Magus Node's another one.
You might have to find out who the chess master is within the MDB community.
Hey,
To
who's got the
represent,
smartest
properly
dev?
represent.
You guys
Yeah.
got a month to figure out who's going to be representing you.
Dude, I hope
Yeah.
Sim isn't playing this game. I don't know why, but I bet you that man knows how to play chess.
Oh, without a doubt.
That would not be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see, though. Definitely.
Yes, 100%.
That's awesome.
It's going to be an exciting event, that is for sure.
Yeah, I love that, guys. I love that. That's a great thing to drop. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to speak about, which we've maybe not spoken about so far?
The only thing, like, and I'll brush over it very briefly because I know we're extremely, extremely far on time, is we're really focusing on bringing, we have specifics on this, but bringing both with, because we kind of mentioned the memberships as well as partnerships together. So our members are going to be receiving a lot of the benefits that our partners are offering using our services. So anyone that chooses to go through all the variety of services we have, whether it be AMAs, reviews, developing, we do have a launch pad coming out in the future. So anyone that chooses to partner with us for our launch pad and that kind of thing are going to benefit from our members. And at the same time, those members are going to benefit or have exclusive benefits that are only available to them, from these partnerships that we're developing in the future. So that's just one of the things I wanted to touch up on, just so like memberships will be getting things, especially like there'll be a lot of things coming in the future. When we say that we're looking for those, extra ideas, it's more for the short term, trying to, if you have anything that you're like, hey, we'd really appreciate, if members could have this little bit, or would you ever consider this? We're completely open to any kind of thoughts, adding on to everything that we've already kind of planned.
Yeah, and then one
You
more
know,
one
Sorry,
more
go ahead.
thing that I kind of want to mention before, just to kind of bring it all together, and that is that without an audience, we couldn't do any of our services and, have a reputation and have influence in the space. And without that influence, then we wouldn't have an audience. So both of those pieces kind of coincide with each other and they benefit each other. So the bigger we grow, the more people can benefit from us, and really it's just a win-win-win overall is what we're going for. And I think that with what we have laid out, it just really captures that really well.
Awesome. So you guys are maybe like 4 minutes off from breaking the MDB AMA record. Do you guys maybe want to sing a song, a nursery rhyme, tell a story?
I have a question, so we don't have to hear anyone
Oh!
sing.
Please.
So,
Go ahead, baby.
I apologize, Apex, if I, ruined your moment. But I know this is kind of trendy right now, and so I understand if there's hesitation. But have y'all thought about either starting or partnering with like a KYC company that already exists? Just to have another thing to say, like, hey, this is a Cardinal project like that we vetted, and they're even KYC through us type thing.
So that actually is one of the services that we are providing to projects. So we're actually providing so we have KYCs, audits, and other kind of things, with the launch pad that we're providing. and people can choose to use all of them, can choose to just go through KYC, or are you asking about every single project that we have on for an AMA?
Okay, maybe I'm just uneducated then, because I didn't know
Oh no,
y'all already were
you're
offering
totally
that.
good. So that's some. Well, I mean, we haven't started offering them yet, but that is in the very near future. Um, Offering those KYCs and everything kind of with that, because I mean, to us, it would make our job with AMAs much simpler. For like, hey, we have KYC'd them, ourselves, so we know that it was this level of work. And I think one of the big reasons we haven't started that yet is KYCs require a lot of um, you have to know the people kind of like doing the KYC, or else if someone's KYC by random person, it's like it doesn't really mean much. So we're really trying to develop relationships with the people, so with our whole community, so that people can trust our KYC and process and everything like that.
Are there legal obligations to doing something like that, or is it more of like yeah, we know who they are, IRL type thing?
We'll definitely
So
do a little more research into the legal side of things, but essentially the KYC is just we have all of their information on file and we verify it through different ways. We don't really want to say exactly what because we don't want anybody listening in be like, oh, this is how I bypass their KYC. If it's possible. So verifying the information that they give us is accurate and then holding that on file would be the core elements to a KYC. And then if somebody were to rug, then we'd be like, yeah, these are the guys that are responsible for this. And then we could get the legal entities involved and getting them in trouble legally. So that's kind of what's involved in a KYC. We'll definitely look into more of the legal side of things, but that's kind of the overall idea of
Would
it.
you release would you release their information to the public? This is a debate I like having.
that's a
You know,
questionable one.
I
Something we've talked about.
I don't think so because maybe it's hard to say because like if we release it to 10,000 people like hey this guy just scammed everybody do what you will with him like that I don't want to be
We could
responsible
get
for
in
anybody
legal
getting
trouble
killed
there.
or something like that would be terrible.
Okay, but let me pose this. This is my argument. So you can't steal from me in my house. Like if I go out in public and go to the store, you can't steal from me. So there's a risk reward ratio to being a thief, or no one would steal. If
Hmm.
there are no risks, like, okay, so you scammed a bunch of people online and now they know who you are, like, the anonymity is the reason why people would want to do it. So if they, like, if they KYC'd and then still rugged, I
Hmm.
feel like that's just part of it. Because if you break into my house to try to steal from me, I promise you, you are at risk. Like your life is at risk. So why can you steal my online assets and you don't have to face any risk? And even then, like just because, like I personally wouldn't go try to track someone down if they stole money from me online or in real life because that's just like I'm not trying to do that. I understand other people will, but like that's my argument. Because I've
So
seen like KYC companies. Sorry, I'm walking back and forth holding my son, and he's 5, so I'm not like amped up. He's just heavy.
You're good. So the only thing I can say to address that, we need to look more into like the legal implications of us releasing something like that if something were to happen. Now, I don't know if there is any, ramification for releasing that information. But one of the other things we want to look into is that if we do release that information saying it is a rug, and technically there's any kind of way that they can say, oh no, technically it wasn't a rug because this person is the one that ran away, with the money and that kind of thing. It puts us in a very iffy spot because of laws, against libel and that kind of thing. And we may have like issues with the law ourselves if we did some of those things. So it would
Right,
have to
right.
be. It's much tougher, and there's a lot more like legal tape to go through if we're to release that to the public. With a very public statement saying this is a rug pull, like because you can't really. It's very difficult to say that because there's a lot of ways to say technically it's not a rug pull, so that's liable. So then they charge you fees for whatever damages to their reputation.
Yeah,
Um,
there's also like different levels of information. Like if you're releasing a name and a picture of his face, that's one thing. But if you're releasing an address and a phone number and
mhm.
like, hey, this is exactly who he is and where he lives, like go have at him. Like that's a separate thing. And you have a very good argument on why that should be released. And then there's that other obligation. Like we don't want to be held responsible for somebody just like getting murdered or whatever might happen. And if there's legal
Well,
consequences for us releasing information, there's that too. So
I think it should be fair. Like, I don't want to know his address, you know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
if someone tried to pickpocket me on the street, I wouldn't know their address. But if I saw their name or if I saw their face and I knew their name, this is kind of silly because I'm talking about like sportsmanship in theft. But this is the reality, you know? And when it comes to crypto and you go online, like, why do the rules change all of a sudden? You know?
I understand where you're coming from. I do get it. I just think right now we're trying to you have to find a balance
Oh,
between what you're
100%.
allowed
I
to
see.
and
I
what
get it.
yeah, I think it's more like the legal implications that we would have,
Right.
that would be
Yeah, I
against
no, I
us
get it.
than
If you
anything.
release someone's information and they get murked, like that's bad. That's not
Mhm.
good on y'all. I
Projects are
think it's
not
been
going to
more
be
than
as
4 minutes.
forgiving. Yep.
Yeah, that. I think though that I guess not to labour on what Hazy said, that the problem is if you're going to offer that service, it's hard, isn't it? Because like you're offering a service to the investors that you're, I guess, KYC, then that means that you have assurance that if you invest, you're not going to get duped. And the problem is, if you get duped, what happens then? And it's like, well, there's no real consequences. But I don't want to go down a rabbit hole on that one. So, but listen, guys, one thing I've got to say is this has probably been one of my favourite AMAs. More so because I probably didn't do any research, which has probably been maybe the way forward actually. So it's like, well, maybe I ask the simple questions now, because it's probably the same questions that the members may ask. And if I don't ask a question, we always invite the guys up to, or gals, to ask that same question. So, have you guys enjoyed it? The Cardinal House guys, have you guys enjoyed the AMA?
yeah, this is awesome.
100%. It's been an amazing time being hosted here.
Yeah, but we'll talk crypto all day, any day.
Yes.
Well, the great thing is, I think we had maybe at best we had maybe 40. I don't think we dropped below maybe 35, which isn't bad. This is just the you've got to appreciate time zones and whatever else. We've recorded this session, so it will be going live on our previous AMA channel, so everyone will be kind of able to see this. I just want to say thank you very much for everyone who's attended. I apologise if we've not asked any questions. I think we've probably covered quite a lot in terms of all the questions we've asked. However, if we haven't asked a question, or if I've not asked a question that you guys have asked specifically, feel free to join the server and reach out to the guys, because I'm sure they'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have got. But other than that, thank you very much, guys, for your attendance, and it's been really appreciated. And on that, I will basically say goodbye. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you so
much. And
much.
if anybody
Thanks,
has any
guys.
questions, you guys are free to DM me. And then also Apex Alpha, if you wouldn't mind sending me the winner of the NFT, then
Yeah,
that would be much appreciated.
yeah, I will do. I will do our giveaway bot for the Millionaire Club members, specifically. So that will, as soon as I've got that, I will send that on to you.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
guys.